Hi and welcome to We the Pink Table. Our guest today is a maverick, thought-provoking actor and an advocate for social change. Not only is he known for his out-of-the-box performances, but also for fearlessly stating his opinion. Hi Abhay, welcome to We.
Hi.
Hi, Abhay. Welcome to We.
Thank you.
So diving straight into the topic, in your own words, what is the definition of a woman, of feminism and women empowerment?
Okay. Woman is one half of the human species.
Okay.
Yeah. There wouldn't be a race if it wasn't for that half. What's the second one?
Who is a feminist according to you? What is a feminist? And are we wrong in getting feminism wrong? Right.
Well, it is a man's world. It's tilted in their favor. It's been sort of, the system is built by them. So I think feminism is a reaction to getting equal rights for women. And sometimes because it becomes a fight in societies that are more misogynistic, and in places where people are more progressive, it adds to positive change. So it's just depending on the environment. It could be a good thing or a bad. Yeah.
Abhay, tell me any instance or any moment that made you experience or feel that women face challenges in society?
Instance that I'm born in India.
Right? So
That's a big
you
instance in
experience all
itself.
of that.
I remember as a kid in the 80s, there was that one last sati that happened.
Oh,
Isn't
yes,
that
in
true?
Rajasthan, yes.
I think that was probably my first insight into, oh wow, we think we treat them badly, just a little.
So that's left an
Burning them to
impression.
death on their husband's funeral pyre. It doesn't sound very nice. And then obviously that made me look into the history of it, and it was one example of extreme violence against women in a patriarchal society. But then there are everyday occurrences one sees,
Right.
you know, in
Dowry
society.
deaths and rapes.
Rapes.
Even in small ways, you know, passive aggressive, or like I said, it's a man's world. So,
Emotional
you know,
abuse.
emotional abuse. You
Eve
know, I
teasing
think
for that matter.
Eve teasing, the smaller things like that, sort of like small in the sense compared to rape, for example.
Right.
Yeah, you know, you just kind of start to notice these things.
However, is there like a woman, any particular woman who has left a significant impact on you in helping change your view of women in your life, a woman?
Anyone in particular? I mean, there's almost any woman that I've been close to has taught me something, you know, about what it is to be a woman. You know, I got a perspective from my mom, you know, because she's, you know, my family's more conservative, so you know, there's a view of how women should be, and so for my sisters as well, I got that point of view, and how they dealt with it and what it made them to be. I went to school, and then obviously I met girls who are from conservative families like myself, or from progressive families who dress differently from the ones from conservative families. You know, so I started to learn and understand, okay, what is nurture and nature, and what that breeds, so to speak, how that conditions an individual. I had to look at my own conditioning, because it was a perspective put inside of me through the men in my family and the women in my family. So it's a process. As an adult, you know, in relationships that I've been in, you know, I saw one point of view from one girlfriend, another from another. Yeah, so it's.
So how many
it's
point of views did you get in total?
A few.
You know, somewhere in an interview, you've mentioned that the only way to stop violence against women is by empowering them.
Yeah.
And normally, even now, we see that if there is violence, we express it by way of social media, outrage on social media, or have candle marches.
Yeah.
What is your view as to how can we empower women in today's society?
It's all about education. At the end of the day, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. So, for example, if I take India as an example, we have a lot of poverty, and so, you know, you can't go straight to how do we empower women. You have to go to how do we empower minds. You know,
men.
education.
So true.
Not just women, men.
Exactly.
Minds, yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as you start to give the right education to young boys and girls, that will happen organically. And again, it's not an overnight process. And I think that's where sometimes extreme demands, or sometimes, You push for a demand and there's a backlash because you're pushing for, let's say, something far too progressive for a society to embrace immediately. You have to give them one step before you take them 10 steps forward.
You know, in Ujjain recently, just a week back, there was this 12-year-old girl who was raped. And she actually went house to house and asked for help. And she was not given help. And then they found her passed out on the road. And that's how she got help. So empowering women is there. But how about society? How can we get society empowered? I know you said educate minds. But like, where do we go from here? Because every single day there's something in the news about violence.
Well, it's in our country, it's poverty. So the poverty is not just material, but mental and emotional.
Very true.
So if you don't have enough money to put food in your stomach, you're not going to care about women's rights. You know what I mean? You're going to care about how you're going to feed yourself. If you've been taught, in a misogynistic way by your tribe or community, you're not going to think that you're wrong because that's what everybody says is the truth. So it all starts with education. Yeah.
Abhay, asking you a personal question now. You've been in relationships. How do you ensure there is respect and equal kind of equality, and not an equality in the relationship that you are in with the women?
Well, you strive for equality, but relationships can sometimes get complex. I think in my case, it's not about who is empowered, it's about who's less messed up, I suppose. I've been sometimes, you could be the toxic one or the woman could be the toxic one. So it's a two-way street.
And what are the misconceptions men have about women? Like, vis-a-vis, like, how do they think women perceive things or see things like?
You see changes from society to society. Someone said to me, Iceland is a very strong matriarchal society. Like the women from there really out there and progressive and leading society. You go to Saudi Arabia and they've just got the right to drive.
Absolutely,
So if you speak to a man from Iceland, he would have one view of women. You speak to a man from Saudi Arabia, he'd have another view of women. It all comes back to nurture. If you look at nature, well, nature doesn't distinguish between the two. Sure, nature has given men a more physically stronger body than women, but that's just how we evolved. But nature didn't say, oh, just because you're stronger, it means you get to beat her up.
True.
That's
and
nurture.
cerebrally, we are all equal. And that's what I think when women say that we're looking for equality, they're not saying like, we're going to pick up trucks or something. Because like you said, physically we're different. But cerebrally, we're equal. And that's where we're saying, give us equal opportunities in jobs. And
well, I mean, original tribal societies would have worshipped Mother Nature or the Mother Goddess. That the first god would have been female because females were giving birth. And so they would have looked at the woman as a giver of life. Before they would have expanded further into different tribes, and then suddenly when competition and war started, then the masculine form overpowered the female form.
That actually brings me to this very interesting question. I've really always wanted to ask men this, is that, you said we worship Mother Nature and we have these mother goddesses, we're going to have Navratris, everybody calls us Devis, hamare ghar mein Lakshmi paida hui hai. But when it comes to talking, we say, when we cuss, when we use swear words, it's always on the mother or the sister or the female. Why? Like, why not say something like,
Bhai Chod.
Exactly.
I'm glad you said it.
I know.
You're on YouTube, you can't even say that.
We'll beep it out.
So you're saying
so,
why?
like,
but I guess
why just women are targeted?
I guess that all comes down to it being a man's world, right?
Like it's a misogyny. And
it's a man's world. So I suppose, like, if I say cunt, that's far more offensive than if I say dick.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know
but
what I mean?
It is.
It's true.
It is.
So I think that just boils down again it being the narrative is controlled by the men, not so much by the women. And so I suppose abuse words too come out from the masculine as opposed to the feminine, maybe.
No, Abhay, your character of Devdas in Dev D was very different, where the women were shown more powerful, more empowered. Was it a very conscious decision on your end?
When I contemporized the book, that was my idea, is let's empower the women and let's call out his chauvinism, because I just was shocked at how his character was so romanticized over the decades. And I think this is the problem we have, is we kind of make that endearing, this sort of quality of being spoilt or like, entitled. And it's just such a thing in our society to let the man be that way, but have a woman be that way, who's entitled and spoiled and perhaps proactive sexually, and that's offensive.
True.
Yeah, I mean, like, a woman will be called a slut, a man will be called a stud.
Stud,
It's
yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
So it was
how
a
they
lot of
think.
that went through my mind when I thought of contemporizing Devdas.
Talking about romanticizing, Indian films really to this date romanticize stalking. And what can we do? How can storytelling in cinema help society change that narrative?
Well, I mean, filmmakers need to be more conscientious. They need to be more nuanced than the average person. It just has to be. Then that's hard because filmmakers also come from the same society, so they come with the same views that the society has put upon us. And so, for filmmakers, they'd have to step away from the conditioning, be objective, look at what it is that they're trying to say, challenge their own selves, and then execute. But you can't expect that all the time. And films are a reflection of society. So if you do see glorified stalking in movies, well, that's a reflection of the society too. And the public also needs to take responsibility. It's not just the filmmakers to objectively look at what it is that they're celebrating.
Well, this was my next question to you, that how much impact do movies and films have on social behavior in society?
Well, films both create culture and reflect it,
Right.
So that's a further pushing of the narrative, whatever narrative you want to push.
You've been in cinema now 18 years, 2005, and women in that time period have obviously the roles, the areas they are like, we have directors today, we have lyricists, we have editors, we have sound, they're in every arena of filmmaking. But do you think the environment is any better for them?
For sure. You see a lot more women, as you said, directing and
No, but
writing.
they're in those roles, but is the environment for them vis-a-vis being women more better, like more safer, more inclusive? Like they'll be there, but are the men's clubs?
Is it more secure for them
Yeah.
than what it was previously?
It's evolving. It's more secure than it ever was before. Is it ideal? No. But like I said, you can't expect change to happen overnight.
Right.
The fact that we have a lot more women in positions of leadership, and the film industry in that sense, more than any other industry in this country, is far more progressive. Whether
Correct.
they don't care what religion you are, they don't care what gender you are, can you deliver? Obviously going back there was still, the men's club still exists and all of that, but it's the film industry that is being chipped away into opening up, more than any other. So I would say that they're getting there. I wouldn't say they're there. And also the security that women will get within film also is dependent on the environment that they are living in. So if you're conservative as a country, you could be an Iranian female filmmaker.
Yeah.
Are you more safe? I mean, you've got an opportunity to direct or act, but are you
Correct.
more safe where women are far more, restricted in what they can say and do?
Abhay, you're known to do very different roles, yeah? How would you impress upon gender equality in the film industry? How would you advocate that?
I mean, for me, by the films I choose to do, so my idea for Devdas was that, to kind of call out his chauvinism and the strength that the women displayed. So just by choosing films that don't stereotype, that don't kind of, go for the easiest option,
But a lot of times you see in the movies, the women do all the rona, dhona and, somewhere, mera pati, mera suhag hai, and mera pati nahi. How do you think that we've seen a change in the scripting now, but what more do you think can evolve in the film industry?
Well, having a lot more women in leadership roles is a good place to start. And the writing part of the industry was a really abused part of the industry, because a lot of the 80s and 90s in Bollywood was about just
The rona, dhona,
replicating
yeah.
what was made before or just copying what the West was doing. So the writers were never treated with respect. You didn't even get a bound script. They would write it as they would go along. And I'm talking 15 years ago. So as the last 15 years have shown that a lot more people are now writing and proudly saying, sir, I have a bound script for you, like as though that's an achievement.
No, but you have a lot of female writers also coming up now with some
Yeah.
very powerful scripts.
Exactly. So women in positions of leadership, and the writing department being given the respect it deserves.
But I think that
would be
more
a way.
powerful roles are more on, I think, in the OTT spectrum than in films, unfortunately. In the films, we're still seeing them like kind of still being the heroine.
Well, I mean, that's even abroad. Like, if Netflix US also became famous for challenging Hollywood. And good drama actually moved to the OTT platforms. And so Hollywood was just about superhero films. And so that's just a common theme you see everywhere, where the digital platforms, because they're digital, they're unlimited in space, they can take chances a lot more than films can, who are relegated to just a physical space to begin with before they go digital. So they have far more to lose, and so they choose less to take risks. And the digital space can. I mean, not that they're also trying to get subscribers and conform to what a society buys.
Absolutely.
But still, they're slightly more grander because they're digitally limitless, like I said.
That's true. They don't have that much of a censorship as they would have
Yeah,
as
technically.
in a movie.
Yeah.
Abhay, every actor has a bucket list of roles. If I can ask you any historical female figure that you would like to portray and bring live on
I
the
would portray?
screen,
Yeah.
you would like to bring
Like, I play her part?
Yeah.
No, maybe, why not? We're talking about
Then they'll
women
say, what is this?
empowerment.
Appropriation? That's cultural appropriation? What is this?
Oh,
Gender
yeah, now we have gender appropriation. We have to be so politically correct. But still, who would be the one
I mean, someone's
character?
life story that I would like to see.
Yes.
Female.
Or for that matter, you would like to portray. Why not?
I wouldn't portray a woman because I just wouldn't look like a woman. You know? I'd have to shave every day. And I don't know.
But not
You
in
were
that
given-
sense. What if you were said, okay, this is the character, this is a historical character, but you can play it in the male form, like as
As a
male
man, a male version
protagonist.
of that female. Who comes to mind? I mean, is this a real person, or like it could be fictitious also?
a
Real
real
person.
Real is more
heroine,
interesting.
and I like a
I mean, there's many heroines, you know, whether it's Jhansi Ki Rani or Joan of Arc, or,
Joan of Arc, yes.
or there's Amrita Shergill, and then there's
Oh, yes.
Indira Gandhi. There's, I mean, there's a lot of these women you could think of. Hedy Lamarr, who was also a scientist, but nobody, you know.
really,
She's
There
the
are
reason
many
why we have,
unsung
one of the reasons why we have
heroes.
Wi-Fi. Huh?
There are many unsung heroines for that matter.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
for-
you know. Yeah, these are a few, I suppose. If I can think of a few more, I'll just keep shooting out names.
Okay. You know, every industry has pay disparity, and of course, the entertainment industry has it as well. How do you think male actors can contribute towards like equality for the women in the industry to be paid just as much? Do you think the men need to stand up?
I honestly think the women are doing that really well. You know, Deepika's spoken up about it.
Yes.
Alia has, I think, spoken up about it as well. And as you see more women-centric movies doing well, and like I said, they have to do well at the box office. See, the filmmakers, it's not like they don't want to give female empowerment or make female-centric roles, but the public has to watch it.
that.
Right.
That's true. That's
You
so
know,
true.
and if they're not going to go pay, why will somebody at their own expense spend money just for the larger good, and then they can never make a movie again because they have a flop?
That's true. Yeah, they've lost.
You
the
know,
money.
so there has to be a back and forth. It's almost like, oh, as filmmakers, as actors, you do it, you do it,
Yeah,
you do it. I'm
true.
like, we'll try, but if you don't buy it, there's only so much I can
Yeah, if
do.
you're not going to get the ticket and come and watch
Then I'm
what's-
sorry, my finances will be like, you tried it, now good. Now put this actor in it and make that girl the wife and have her cry over him.
Yeah, so true.
They
That
will
is
say
very
that,
true.
you know, so it has to be a give and take. People need to also take responsibility on themselves. It's very easy to point fingers.
That is very true. That is
You
so
know.
true. We just concentrate so much on the industry.
No,
that
it's
we
like, what
forget
about
that
you?
we
What
have
are
a-
you doing to encourage
Exactly.
filmmakers to make those movies for you?
Those
Absolutely.
movies for you.
You know?
And, yeah. So, okay, go on.
I think we are very eager to ask you questions. Abhay, women take an equal responsibility, financial responsibility in today's time, but yet they are the primary caregivers at home also. If you still see domestic, women do not get that kind of help from the men in sharing the domestic responsibility. What is your message to the men now?
Well, I mean, if you're going to impregnate her and have a child with her and also expect her to work, and if it's an equal relationship, then share the work equal, 50-50. I don't know, I'm not married or with kids, so
No, but we see women like I have friends who will get up at 4 in the morning. They will cook breakfast for the whole family, the in-laws, husband, children, pack lunch dabbas for everyone. Then they will go to work. Then they will come back. Then they will be expected to cook dinner and then look after the kids' homework and then go to bed and then.
Well, if your man's not doing anything, then you do something about it.
No, but
You can't.
What I mean to say is
you
this.
have to let
What I
them-
mean to say is this: is of course the man has to take responsibility and
So what would you say to those
and be
men?
supportive of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I would say, of course, be supportive of
Yeah.
like be aware, be self-aware, and look at what's going on around you. But it's like you said about the audience and the filmmakers. If the woman is not getting what she deserves, she needs to stand up for herself too.
But then, like, again, I guess it comes back to educating the woman. But, in our society, it's always
Yeah.
come down to the woman has to do it. It's
Yeah,
inculcated
yeah.
in the girls that you
It's-
cannot stand up for yourself.
Yeah, and they've
Tumhara,
been
this is what
conditioned
you
to
but
be.
it's not just about the cooking in the kitchen. It's even about paying your bills.
Yes.
It's about running the errands. It's the basics.
They will pay equally for the salary,
I-
finances. but
yeah, I mean, I see more of women not being allowed to work, or rather not being expected to do so, but being expected to take care of the house. I don't know so much of women who are expected to work, contribute, and do the household chores. I do see women doing that, but because of conditioning, doing both, and not necessarily demanding of
No,
the
but
man
it's a
to get
very done
support.
thing in the metro cities, if you
Yeah.
ask me. In Mumbai,
lot,
you will
yes.
see, or for that matter, any metro city, you
Yeah.
see the women working,
Yeah.
like she said, getting up in the morning, plus running the show at
For me,
home.
it confuses me because I just feel like if you're a man and you have a wife and you expect her to also do the same, have the same lifestyle as you, which is work, contribute, why would you not see that there's this part of it too? If she's expending herself on the household chores, why would you not also? I still baffles me. So I don't know, like, obviously if I was in that situation, I would make sure that I would also help. If I had a partner and she's making more money than I would happily take a back seat. I'm that guy and be like, okay, I'll do the household stuff. Like, I actually would love to be a kept man if I didn't have any ambition and my wife was ambitious or girlfriend was ambitious.
and our
I'd be
society
happy.
looks down at house husbands, actually. Sometimes the
Which is
woman
so
is earning,
unfortunate, yeah.
And the man is at home who can look after the child, and it's like, nahi, tum aadmi ho, tumhe to
That's-
jaake kamana
that's
hai.
our conditioning,
Yeah. And
yeah,
he's looked
so-
down, people make fun of him, and he could be doing a great job.
So I think it's about I would turn, first of all, you have to look at them with empathy, because if you put them in a corner, if you point at them, they'll point back, they'll fight you back. The only way to work with them is to kind of enlighten them or shine the light on the fact that they're not wrong in thinking the way they think, that they have been taught a certain way, and then to be shown how limited that thinking is. If you allow an individual to expand in their outlook, then they will embrace that, because they'll feel bigger, they'll feel like they've learned something, and then they will happily make that change. But if you call them out and if you point fingers at them, if you call them wrong, they're just going to fight you back.
What was it that you wish women understood about men?
That they're pretty simple, actually.
They are. They are.
Yes. Simple-minded.
So when they say, I'm not thinking about
Simple-minded.
anything, they're
They're
literally
not.
not thinking about everything. Because, we're sitting there thinking, I wonder what he's thinking. And he's actually not thinking. So is that true?
In a way it is, because I think, again, I'm going back to the man's world thing.
Yeah.
Because it's a man's world, a man needs to think and do less to get ahead. A woman needs to think and do more to get ahead. So, because the odds are stacked against her.
Yeah.
No, but I disagree. I think women are more powerful and more sharp and more.
No, I'm saying the odds are stacked against the
Yes,
woman.
the odds are. Yeah.
So
Right.
they may be more powerful and more sharper than men. I'm no scientist to corroborate that, but I can, at least from my understanding of society, say that, because people say, oh, women are manipulative, women can be scheming, women can be this, that. I'm like, if we were in the weaker side, if we had it against us, we'd have to scheme and go ahead, no? Obviously,
So-
I think if it was a woman's world, the man would have been like that.
Right.
Probably the same. Like, I think we're the same species. So I think whenever the power is skewed to one side, you're going to see symptoms of that being abused. So if it was a woman's world, you'd see abuse from
men
women.
getting, yes.
That's so true. That's so true.
Abhay, which one of your movies is the closest to your heart? I'm sure all of them are, but which one role that you would have played? Like for me, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara was my favorite.
Yeah.
So, which one of the roles that you've portrayed so far is the closest to your heart?
It's hard to pick, because you kind of give each one the same love. And it's different things for different movies. So, for example, I think with Shanghai, it was very satisfying because there's no accent training for actors in India, and I played a Tamilian speaking in Hindi. Now, first of all, Tamils don't speak Hindi, they'll speak in English. So I can do the Tamil English accent, but how do I do a Tamil Hindi accent?
Right.
So that process of trying to find that character was very creatively satisfying, I suppose. But then A Zindagi was just so much fun to do. It was
three
urban
boys
character,
yes.
you know, someone similar to my background, not similar to who I am. But, you know, so I played him that way, but he was easy to play, but at the same time fun. And I just loved the setup and the story. Dev D, because obviously it was my idea, concept that I had the treatment developed. So that was close to my heart because I was able to make a statement. This is what I want to say. This comes from my heart and mind, you know. So it's hard to pick.
And if you could swap roles with one of your female leads and play the female character, like if you were a female,
Yeah.
I mean, like which character would you choose?
If I was to swap for female character in one of my movies, I haven't thought of that.
Okay, let's...
Maybe I'd play Paro in Dev D.
Why
I
not?
just-
You did
yeah.
great at it, actually.
I just like, especially the way Mahi did that.
Yeah, she was awesome and she was awesome. Yeah.
What would your advice be to an 18-year-old, Abhay?
It boy, girl, or both?
Both.
What would my advice be?
Yes.
I would say, don't try and grow up too soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet.
Just enjoy
That's so
your
sweet.
youth. As they say, youth is wasted on the young.
That's so true. And we've, I think, all been...
Definitely wasted
playing-
on my youth.
Yeah, no, I think all of us
You gotta
have.
steal us.
What is your take on mansplaining?
It's exists.
It does.
And how?
It does.
I've been guilty of it myself. You know, it's a learning process.
Okay.
I don't know if I've mansplained today. I hope not.
No, actually. But, you know, it's the digital age. Social media is everything today. How do you think social media can play a role in educating younger minds towards how they can empower women?
We've seen that already. We've seen the good and the bad of social media. And that's just human nature. So it was Einstein's equation that made them split the atom, right? What was his desire behind it? To give you unlimited energy. And what did we do? We made the bomb out of it.
So true. Very well.
What would your message be to the youth today on respect of women, on empowering women, on treating them better, behaving better with them?
Well, let's just put it this way, you know, what you give out, you get back. So if you choose, Hinduism doesn't have sin as a concept. It's just karma. It's like you choose to go down this path and that's the world you'll build for yourself. You choose to go down that path, then you'll get that world around you. So if you choose the path of suppression, well, then you will live that life of the person who will suppress people.
Correct.
And everything that is built around suppression will be a part of your world. If you go down the path of liberation and liberating, let's say, the weaker sex, then you will build a life that reflects liberation around you. So suppression would, I guess, typically look like a clothed, covered, you know, maybe even violent scene. A liberated one could be fun, crazy, open, experimental kind of a life. Does that make any sense?
Kind of.
Yes, it does. It does.
No,
You know, it is what you get back. So
Always.
how you treat anybody, not in this case a woman,
Anyone.
but basically, let's say in the reference to women, like I said, if you are closed-minded, then be ready to have that in your life, even
So
reflected
true.
back to you from the woman. Even the woman who has been raised with that understanding will be of a certain type and a certain kind, and she will push that upon her daughters and her sisters as well, and ensure that they themselves are closed and abused. And so you won't even know that your partner is somebody who is abusing you back in her own way. You know,
That's
because
so
she doesn't know
beautifully
any
said.
other.
And that's
She doesn't know any other way.
They
That's
everyone, they think that
generational.
it's okay to be treated that way.
Yeah, it
Woman,
builds
mother
up
to daughter to daughter.
what we call
yeah.
ancestral karma.
Yeah. So, does your brutal honesty get you into trouble? Do you think?
It has. I'm just not brutally honest anymore.
So it does have that effect on you, where you think before you speak. Oh, wait, when you speak, is it from the heart or the head?
No, I speak from the mind and the heart. I mean, for me, it's the same thing.
Okay.
You know, we think that consciousness is here and that the body is, it's everywhere really. So I just speak from what my experience is. I do speak from my experience. I just don't say what things should be like. I just talk about what I see things as.
Do you think you become more politically correct? Because we love the not politically correct Abhay.
I don't know if I'm politically correct, but I'm definitely calmer, and it's not my responsibility to change society. It's my responsibility to speak my truth, but it's not my responsibility that society changes. That's society's responsibility, not mine.
Abhay, what is the one motto you live by?
To have no fixed ideas.
How wonderful is that? Abhay, can we get you ready for a rapid fire?
Sure.
Lovely. So you'll have to excuse me on this.
It's a this or that more than a rapid fire.
Yeah, it's in this or that. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Mountain or beaches?
Beaches.
Action films or romantic comedies?
Action.
Morning person, night person?
Morning.
Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Books or movies?
Movies.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Sneakers or formal shoes?
Sneakers.
Comedy or drama?
Comedy.
Vintage or modern?
Vintage.
Netflix or cinema?
Cinema.
Cooking at home or dining out?
Cooking at home.
Road trip or flying?
It depends really, no? I'll say
With
road
who?
trip. Or where?
Music or podcast?
Music.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Pizza or sushi?
Pizza.
Comedy club or live music concert?
Live music concert.
Sunsets or sunrises?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Rises.
Let's just set, because I chose mornings anyways. Yeah, sunsets.
Sunrises as it's
Sunset.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Fiction or non-fiction books?
Non-fiction.
Sneakers or boots?
Sneakers.
Tattoos or no tattoos?
Tattoos.
Beach vacations or European adventure?
Europe has beaches.
Yoga or gym?
Gym. I should say yoga, but
you should. You're such a.
I've been doing gym more than yoga, so to be honest.
Always so much for yoga,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Comedy roast or a serious interview?
Comedy roast.
We the Pink Table or any other interview?
Oh, is that a trick question? We, for sure. Any day.
Abhay, it's been so wonderful
Thank
to
you.
have you with us.
Yeah, thanks
Thank you,
so much.
thank you, thank
It's
you.
been fun.
It has been, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you for being with us, Abhay. We really enjoyed ourselves today.
Thank you.
And we'd like to gift you something and invite Jitendra Motwani ji here. He is the third wheel at We the Pink Table.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abhay. Thank you so much.
No, thank you
Hope
guys.
you like the hamper.
I hope so too. Thanks. Thanks.